tumejaliwa sana sisi Tanzania, ngao yetu moja tumeshikilia. Heri tujiulize bila kudhania, mambo gani muhimu tumezingatia. Tumejaliwa sana sisi Tanzania, ngao yetu moja tumeshikilia. Heri tujiulize bila kudhania, mambo gani muhimu tumezingatia. Yeye kuanza hali ilitishwa, migongano ya dini hata ukabila. Mwalimu aligundua hapa Tanzania, hitilafu zizikwe, liundwe taifa letu. Yeye kuanza hali ilitisha, migongano ya dini hata ukabila. Mwalimu aligundua hapa Tanzania, hitilafu zizikwe, liundwe taifa. Katika dunia hii, lakini fikra na vitendo vyako bado viko Tanzania, Afrika na dunia nzima. Ulale pema peponi. Amen. upendo wako wewe kuanzia ujana, ulishajitolea kuwasaidia nduguzo, na huo ndio mfano wa vijana wote Tanzania. Tumejaliwa sana sisi Tanzania, ngao yetu moja tumeshikilia. Heri tujiulize bila kudhania, mambo gani muhimu tumezingatia. Tumejaliwa sana sisi Tanzania, ngao yetu moja tumeshikilia. Heri tujiulize bila kudhania, mambo gani muhimu tumezingatia. Yeye kuanza hali ilitishwa, migongano ya dini hata ukabila. Mwalimu aligundua hapa Tanzania, hitilafu zizikwe, liundwe taifa letu. Kabla yeye kuanza hali ilitisha, migongano ya dini hata ukabila. Mwalimu aligundua hapa Tanzania, hitilafu zizikwe, liundwe taifa. Katika dunia hii, lakini fikra na vitendo vyako bado viko Tanzania, Afrika na dunia nzima. Ulale pema peponi. Amen. Tumejaliwa sana sisi Tanzania, ngao yetu moja tumeshikilia. Heri tujiulize bila kudhania, mambo gani muhimu tumezingatia. Tumejaliwa sana sisi Tanzania, ngao yetu moja tumeshikilia. Heri tujiulize bila kudhania, mambo gani muhimu tumezingatia. Yeye kuanza hali ilitishwa, migongano ya dini hata ukabila. Mwalimu aligundua hapa Tanzania, hitilafu zizikwe liundwe taifa letu. Kabla yeye kuanza hali ilitisha, migongano ya dini hata ukabila. Mwalimu aligundua hapa Tanzania, hitilafu zizikwe liundwe taifa. Umeondoka katika dunia hii, lakini fikra na vitendo vyako bado viko Tanzania, Afrika na dunia nzima. Ulale pema peponi. Amen. kuwasaidia ndugu zote, na huo ndio mfano wa vijana wote Tanzania. Upendo wako wewe kuanzia ujana, ulishajitolea kuwasaidia ndugu zote, na huo ndio mfano wa vijana wote Tanzania. Tumejaliwa sana sisi Tanzania, ngao yetu moja tumeshikilia. Heri tujiulize bila kudhania, mambo gani muhimu tumezingatia. Tumejaliwa sana sisi Tanzania, ngao yetu moja tumeshikilia. Heri tujiulize bila kudhania, mambo gani muhimu tumezingatia. Migongano ya dini hata ukabila, Mwalimu aligundua hapa Tanzania, hitilafu zizikwe liundwe taifa letu. Kabla yeye kuanza aliilitisha migongano ya dini hata ukabila. Mwalimu aligundua hapa Tanzania, hitilafu zizikwe liundwe taifa. Mwalimu Afrika na dunia nzima. Ulale pema peponi. Amen. Yeye peke alirudi kwa watu mpaka milele. Nyerere. Tumejaliwa sana sisi Tanzania, ngao yetu moja tumeshikilia. Heri tujiulize bila kudhania, mambo gani muhimu tumezingatia. Tumejaliwa sana sisi Tanzania, ngao yetu moja tumeshikilia. Heri tujiulize bila kudhania, mambo gani muhimu tumezingatia. hata ukabila. Mwalimu aligundua hapa Tanzania, hitilafu zizikwe, liundwe taifa letu. Kabla yeye kuanza aliilitisha migongano ya dini hata ukabila. Mwalimu aligundua hapa Tanzania, hitilafu zizikwe, liundwe taifa. Katika dunia hii, lakini fikra na vitendo vyako bado viko Tanzania, Afrika na dunia nzima. Ulale pema peponi. Amen. Alirudi kwa watu mpaka milele. Nyerere wa kwanza ni mwenzetu, Mwalimu Nyerere. Alipata elimu huko Makerere, nyingine tele tele huko Uingereza. Angeweza mwenyewe kuwa yeye peke. Mwalimu hakutaka kuwa yeye peke, alirudi kwa watu mpaka milele. Nyerere zaidi ya ndugu, na huo ndio mfano wa vijana wote Tanzania. Upendo wako wewe kuanzia ujana tumejaliwa sana sisi Tanzania, ngao yetu moja tumeshikilia. Heri tujiulize bila kudhania, mambo gani muhimu tumezingatia. Tumejaliwa sana sisi Tanzania, ngao yetu moja tumeshikilia. Heri tujiulize bila kudhania, mambo gani muhimu tumezingatia. Kabla yeye kuanza hali ilitisha, migongano ya dini hata ukabila. Mwalimu aligundua hapa Tanzania, hitilafu zizikwe, liundwe taifa letu. Kabla yeye kuanza hali ilitisha, migongano ya dini hata ukabila. Mwalimu aligundua hapa Tanzania, hitilafu zizikwe, liundwe taifa. Katika dunia hii, lakini fikra na vitendo vyako bado viko Tanzania, Afrika na dunia nzima. Ulale pema peponi. Amen. Mwalimu Nyerere alipata elimu amani kwa watu mpaka milele. Nyerere. Wasaidia ndugu na huo ndio mfano wa vijana wote Tanzania. Upendo wako wewe kuanzia ujana, ulishajitolea kuwasaidia ndugu na huo ndio mfano wa vijana wote Tanzania. Tumejaliwa sana sisi Tanzania, ngao yetu moja tumeshikilia. Heri tujiulize bila kudhania, mambo gani muhimu tumezingatia. Tumejaliwa sana sisi Tanzania, ngao yetu moja tumeshikilia. Heri tujiulize bila kudhania, mambo gani muhimu tumezingatia. Yeye kuanza hali ilitisha, migongano ya dini hata ukabila. Mwalimu aligundua hapa Tanzania, hitilafu zizikwe, liundwe taifa letu. Yeye kuanza hali ilitisha, migongano ya dini hata ukabila. Tanzania, Afrika na dunia nzima. Ulale pema peponi. Amen. Yeye peke alirudi kwa watu mpaka milele. Nyerere.
Ni wajibu kumshukuru Baba Nyerere, kumsifu kwa furaha wingi wa Mungu. Mwalimu baba yetu tunamfahamu, mwalimu ndugu yetu tunamshukuru. Yeye amejenga umoja wa taifa, yeye ameasisi taifa letu changa Nyerere. Upendo wako wewe kuanzia ujana, ulishajitolea kuwasaidia ndugu, na huo ndio mfano wa vijana wote Tanzania. Upendo wako wewe kuanzia ujana, ulishajitolea kuwasaidia ndugu, na huo ndio mfano wa vijana wote Tanzania. Tumejaliwa sana sisi Tanzania, ngao yetu moja tumeshikilia. Heri tujiulize bila kudhania, mambo gani muhimu tumezingatia. Mawazo ya mwalimu yameshatimia,
Leo
dumisha umoja ndio yetu nia.
tumejaliwa sana sisi Tanzania, ngao yetu moja tumeshikilia. Heri tujiulize bila kudhania, mambo gani muhimu tumezingatia.
Mawazo ya mwalimu yameshatimia,
Leo
dumisha umoja ndio yetu nia.
yeye kuanza hali ilitisha, migongano ya dini hata ukabila. Mwalimu aligundua hapa Tanzania, hitilafu zizikwe, liundwe taifa letu. Kabla yeye kuanza hali ilitisha, migongano ya dini hata ukabila. Mwalimu aligundua hapa Tanzania, hitilafu zizikwe, liundwe taifa. Katika dunia hii, lakini fikra na vitendo vyako bado viko Tanzania, Afrika na dunia nzima. Ulale pema peponi. Amen. Alirudi kwa watu mpaka milele. Nyerere wa kwanza ni mwenzetu, Mwalimu Nyerere. Alipata elimu huko Makerere, nyingine tele tele huko Uingereza. Angeweza mwenyewe kuwa yeye peke, Mwalimu hakutaka kuwa yeye peke. Alirudi kwa watu mpaka milele. Nyerere yeah, yeah. Tumejaliwa sana sisi Tanzania, ngao yetu moja tumeshikilia. Heri tujiulize bila kudhania, mambo gani muhimu tumezingatia.
Mawazo ya Mwalimu yameshatimia. Dumisha umoja, ndio yetu nia.
Tumejaliwa sana sisi Tanzania, ngao yetu moja tumeshikilia. Heri tujiulize bila kudhania, mambo gani muhimu tumezingatia.
Mawazo ya Mwalimu yameshatimia.
Leo
Dumisha umoja, ndio yetu nia. Ni wajibu kumshukuru Baba Nyerere, kumsifu kwa furaha wingi wako. Mwalimu baba yetu tunamfahamu, Mwalimu ndugu yetu tunamshukuru. Yeye ameleta umoja wa taifa, yeye ameasisi taifa letu jamani.
Kabla yeye kuanza hali ilitisha, migongano ya dini hata ukabila. Mwalimu aligundua hapa Tanzania, hitilafu zizikwe, liundwe taifa letu.
Wananchi wote walizingatia,
Hiyo
hiyo ndiyo siri ya Tanzania.
kabla yeye kuanza hali ilitisha, migongano ya dini hata ukabila. Mwalimu aligundua hapa Tanzania, hitilafu zizikwe, liundwe taifa.
Wananchi wote walizingatia,
Hiyo
hiyo ndiyo siri ya Tanzania. Ni wajibu kumshukuru Baba Nyerere, kumsifu kwa furaha wingi wako. Mwalimu baba yetu tunamfahamu, Mwalimu ndugu yetu tunamshukuru. Yeye ameleta umoja wa taifa, yeye ameasisi taifa letu jamani.
Please rise as we welcome our excellencies who are entering the room. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, please rise as we welcome the heads of state. Thank you. Thank you. Please remain standing as we observe the national anthem of the United Republic of Tanzania, followed by the East African Community Anthem. You may have your seats. Good evening, and welcome to President of Burundi, Chair of the Summit, His Excellency Evariste Ndayishimiye, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Her Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the former Prime Minister of Ethiopia, His Excellency Hailemariam Desalegn, Honorable Dr. Edward Ngirente, Prime Minister of the Republic of Rwanda, Right Honorable First Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for EAC Affairs, Madam Rebecca Kadaga of the Republic of Uganda. Honorable Ministers present, the diplomatic community present, development partners, distinguished guests, delegates, all protocols observed. Good evening once again. My name is Victoria Rubediri, and I will be your Director of Ceremonies for this high-level event on enhancing climate resilience for food security and environmental sustainability in the EAC region. This, of course, is a side event for the 23rd EAC Ordinary Summit. And the theme throughout the day has been enhancing climate resilience for food security and environmental sustainability in the EAC region. Excellencies, distinguished guests, allow me to invite our first speaker for this session, the East African Community Secretary General, Dr. Peter Maduki, who will then invite the summit chair and our keynote speaker, His Excellency Dessalines. The floor is yours.
Your Excellency, Evariste Ndayishimiye, President of the Republic of Burundi, and the Chairperson of the Summit of East African Community Heads of States, Your Excellency, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency, Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, President of Federal Republic of Somalia, Your Excellency Right Honorable Edward Girente, Prime Minister of Rwanda, representing His Excellency President Paul Kagame, Your Excellency Right Honorable Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga, First Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for East African Community Affairs, Republic of Uganda, representing His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, Your Excellency Ali Mariam, the former Prime Minister of Ethiopia, the Honorable Ministers and Cabinet Secretaries present, heads of regional economic communities present, Your Excellencies, the Ambassadors, High Commissioners, and the members of Diplomatic Corps, the Principal and Permanent Under-Secretaries, esteemed heads and representatives of development partners who are here, private sector leaders, invited dignitaries, my colleagues at the EAC, also, Your Excellencies present are the former Secretary Generals of EAC who are here with us, and the former speakers of the East African Legislative Assembly who are also present with us, and also a team of the eminent people who are helping us to draft the Constitution of the Confederated East Africa, Your Excellencies. Ladies and gentlemen, I warmly welcome you, Your Excellencies, to this EAC high-level forum on climate change and food security as a precursor to the COP28 that is slated to take place this month in Dubai. And also is a build-up, Your Excellencies, to the unique and inaugural African Climate Summit successfully hosted by Your Excellency Dr. Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya in Nairobi. It was the first of its own kind, and that was 4 to 6 of September. And also the Africa Food Systems Forum, hosted by Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania in Dar es Salaam, on the 5th day of September. And out of this forum, Your Excellencies, then we picked lessons, and there were major lessons. And therefore, as East African community, felt it's important that we have a common position as we go to COP28. And Your Excellency, in Nairobi, His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto said, and I quote, "This declaration, which is Nairobi, will serve as a basis for Africa's common position in the global climate change process. And no country should ever have to choose between development aspirations and climate action." And Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, in the Food Systems Summit in Dar es Salaam, urged African leaders to prioritize agriculture sector, aligning their goals with current economic needs and the Malabo Declaration 2014, which calls for increased agriculture budgets and inclusive growth. And therefore, Your Excellencies, as East African community, we keenly follow what you do in your respective partner states, and that you have prioritized food security. And therefore, EAC is here to follow the queue and reaffirm our commitment to Your Excellency's resolve on food secure region. Excellencies, EAC is undoubtedly rich in diversity and with a lot of potential. hence a fertile ground for synergies and complementarity, as opposed to competing among ourselves, so that we can reap the real benefits of regional integration. The region continues to face challenges which are formidable, that demand urgent attention and collective action. And therefore, your presence here, Your Excellencies, is a testament to that commitment. We all know climate change is not a distant threat, but is a present reality impacting our ecosystems and weather patterns, etc. And therefore, over the past decade, our region in East Africa witnessed a 25% reduction in agricultural productivity, a consequence of the climate change, prolonged droughts and erratic weather patterns across the region, hence the need to have a collective decision, including all stakeholders, including the private sector who are here present. The communities must therefore be at the forefront of sustainable development, innovation, and collaboration by deliberating and formulating strategic solutions to address the impacts of the climate change and food security across the region. And therefore, Excellencies, our first imperative should be to invest in climate-resilient agriculture, our commitment to renewable energy, which must be resolute. And 3 is to have a regional cooperation on water management. We strengthen that cooperation, but also education being our most potent ally in this endeavor. We must empower our citizens with knowledge about climate change sustainable practices. Excellencies, the key messages that the EAC inform our climate change priorities include: 1, doubling adaptation finance commitments, including to operationalize loss and damage fund, but also to underscore the critical importance of the global stock take, emphasizing actionable recommendations and support for nationally determined contributions and also national adaptation plans. And therefore, there is need to stress the need for responses measures that do not adversely affect developing countries where we are, and call for facilitation of compliance mechanisms. As I conclude, Your Excellencies, the decision of Your Excellencies today will shape the destiny of our region towards sustainable, resilient, and prosperous future for our people. I thank you and karibuni sana to this summit, Your Excellencies. And in the same breath, Your Excellencies, you allow me, this morning, the ministers responsible for environment met to deliberate, and therefore the chair of the Sectoral Council on Environment is here just to present the report of what ministers were able to do this morning. So I invite the Chair Council to come, and the Chair of the Sectoral Council on Environment to come and present the report. Burundi.
His Excellence General Evariste Ndayishimiye, President of the Republic of Burundi and the Chairperson of EAC, His Excellence Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, His Excellence Dr. William Samuel Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Edward Ngirente, Prime Minister of Rwanda, representing His Excellency Paul Kagame, Honorable Dr. Peter Mutuku, EAC Secretary General, Honorable Ministers and Cabinet Secretaries, Head of Regional Economic Communities, Excellencies, Ambassador, High Commissioners, and the members of diplomatic corps, invited dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. On this day of 23 November 2023, the EAC ministers responsible for environmental and climate change matters met under high-level forum on climate change and food security, and made fruitful deliberations and come up with a common position as a bloc. As EAC partner states ready themselves to attend the UNFCCC COP 28 in Dubai. Your Excellencies, allow me therefore to kindly present and after handover to your Excellencies the report of the ministerial session and the signal EAC position to take it to the COP 2028. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ministers responsible for environment, for the report. And indeed, that becomes the official report. After we receive comments from their excellencies, then it becomes our position towards COP28. Your Excellencies, allow me now to invite the keynote speaker on this very important topic on climate resilient agriculture, His Excellency Al-Mariam, who is with us here, the former Prime Minister of Ethiopia, and who in his own right is also an expert in food security, and also the chair of AGRA. Please, Your Excellency, most welcome to the podium.
Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Burundi and Chairperson of the Summit of the East African Community Heads of State, Your Excellency, Her Excellency, President of United Republic of Tanzania, The Excellency, President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency, President of Federal Republic of Somalia, Right Honorable Prime Minister of Rwanda, Her Excellency, First Deputy Prime Minister of Uganda, the Chairperson of the East African Community Council of Ministers, Honorable Ministers, I stand on the protocols already established. Excellencies, it is with great honor and profound sense of shared responsibility that I stand before you today to address one of the pressing issues facing the East African Community region, one that demands our collective attention, enhancing climate resilience for food security and environmental sustainability. As I say this, I am reminded of the myriad of crises we have faced recently from the effects of climate change, including extreme weather conditions, persistent drought, floods, landslides, and rising sea levels, which threaten food security and efforts to eradicate poverty. These challenges manifest in the form of food, water, and energy insecurity, as well as the land and water degradation. According to the International Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, East Africa is vulnerable to the impacts of climate change because of its dependence on rain-fed agriculture. Altered precipitation patterns, erratic rainfall, and prolonged droughts disrupt the traditional agricultural calendar, adversely affecting soil health and diminishing yields. This intricate nexus between climate change, rain-fed agriculture, and soil productivity has far-reaching implications for regional food security. The pace of population growth and urbanization escalating at 18% annually, exerts additional pressure on our natural environment. Ensuring the resilience of our agricultural systems is more crucial than ever. The interplay of these factors threatens the livelihoods of millions of farmers and challenges our ability to meet the escalating food demands of our growing population. Urgent and strategic interventions are essential to address forest, soil, and water degradation, enhance agricultural practices, and deploy innovative technologies that strengthen the productivity and sustainability of our rain-fed agriculture. Latest estimates put the cost of adaptation in our region, in East Africa region, between $10 to 15 billion per year. This illustrates the magnitude of the problem of building resilience to climate change. In the face of an ever-changing climate, it is imperative that we adopt an integrated approach requiring our urgent and collective efforts. Excellencies, as leaders on the continent, we find ourselves at a crucial juncture. Approaching the end of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, this period on 2030. The imperative is clear. We must prioritize adaptation in our food systems. With less than 7 agricultural seasons remaining to meet the development aspirations of our people, this urgency demands our unwavering attention and concerted action. Africa's resilience has been tested repeatedly, notably in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic and various economic and climatic shocks. Our people have shown remarkable resilience, though. It is our duty to reciprocate this resilience with strategic investments that further prepare our communities for the challenge posed by a changing climate. I am proud to see commitments from countries within the region align with this. In Kenya, for example, the new administration is leading a transformative initiative to plant 15 billion trees for nature to be a climate solution. This visionary plan not only focuses on restoring Kenya's vital water towers and increasing agroforestry cover, but also creates job opportunities for the youth through tree nurseries, and simultaneously by promoting the growth of fruit trees. The initiative seeks to enhance smallholder farmer incomes, exemplifying Kenya's commitment to climate resilience, sustainable development, and youth empowerment. We must also allow natural biodiversity forests to recover in ways that support biodiversity for the well-being of local communities in the long term, because there is alarming deforestation in our region. Shifting our focus to Tanzania, we have seen a nation that has made remarkable strides in just 5 years. Transitioning from a net importer to a net rice exporter, Tanzania's achievement is extraordinary. The rice production has surged from less than 0.5 million metric tons to an impressive 3.2 million metric tons. This success story can be primarily attributed to Tanzania's commitment to adopting improved varieties and implementing sound agronomic practices. Let us forge ahead with a vision that intertunes the threads of climate resilience, sustainable development, and agro-industrialization, ensuring that the growth we achieve today becomes the legacy of a thriving and resilient East Africa for generations to come. Also, to meet the evolving needs of our agricultural sector, we must prioritize proven innovations and technologies that ensure the sustainability and the resilience of our food systems. The untapped potential of our youth population is also an opportunity, as they can drive inclusive growth and transform the continent's food systems. The BBT, Build Better Tomorrow program of Tanzania, is one of such initiatives to emulate. Just as we have witnessed the transformative power of digital technologies in reaching underserved communities through digital finance, these innovations can also be utilized to build resilience in our food systems. By leveraging the lessons learned from the past challenge, investing wisely, and embracing the potential of our youth and digital technologies, we can forge path towards a more resilient and prosperous future for our nations. In our role as leaders, an opportunity awaits us, enabling us to impact millions through strategically developing and implementing targeted policies and initiatives. We can usher in a transformative era by fostering innovation and actively attracting the private sector investment into our food systems. Recognizing climate change is an ever-evolving field. We must continuously invest in research and development to address the diverse and frequent vulnerabilities unique to the East African region. We can only devise context-specific solutions that address the complexities of our varied farming and agribusiness systems through this concerted effort. Yes, again, we have to build on our successes. Our region or continent is not without success stories. We have seen that we can achieve increased yields with the right policies. In the African region, we have seen international intentional investment in irrigation to curb the effects of climate change and reduce the resilience on red-fed agriculture, which is attributed to an increase of 4 to 10 times in the agricultural budget. Expanding irrigation onto currently underperforming rain-fed croplands is crucial to meet future food demands without further agricultural land expansion and associated encroachments of the natural ecosystems. It is a climate adaptation solution to alleviate heat and water stress to crops and reduce climate variabilities and extremities. Two outstanding examples can be cited. Number one, building series of dams for flood mitigation and as irrigation water reserves, as Kenya is doing now, and nature-based conservation agriculture that as a solutions that kindle water and soil conservation for increased yields, which I have seen in Rwanda and Tanzania. Rwanda, as a nation, has undergone a transformative shift in its agricultural landscape over the last 10 years. From being initially reliant on imported improved seeds, has undergone a remarkable change. Through strategic collaborations with partners like AGRA, Rwanda has not only scaled up the production of these crucial seeds within its borders, but has also wholly substituted all previously imported seeds. Farmers in Rwanda now have convenient and cost-effective access to locally processed seeds, making a significant step towards agricultural self-sufficiency and sustainability. The above examples are only glimpses of which I have seen firsthand, but many best practices can be cited in our region. The work that AGRA and many other partners are doing across the continent to bridge the research, private sector, and farmers' gap is a case in which we need to continue investing. However, I must emphasize the importance of agro-industrialization for the future of our region and continent at large. Our agricultural potential has long been acknowledged, but it is time for us to harness this potential to drive economic growth, not only growth, but economic transformation and sustainable development. My call to action: I would like to applaud government's efforts in creating food systems pathways. Still, I also encourage prioritizing affordable investments and the prerequisite infrastructure as the future we ought to build. Infrastructure deficit still is with us. I believe in the inherent resilience and potential of our beloved continent, Africa. While we face significant challenge, the African continent has a wealth of initiatives and opportunities that, if strategically harnessed, can significantly contribute to addressing food security challenges. The East African region can emerge as forerunner in implementing the resolutions from the Nairobi Africa Climate Summit and the Africa Food Systems Forum. However, this will require a deliberate and concerted effort and collaborative approach. And at this juncture, I would like to thank the ministers for this decision. Firstly, it's imperative for member states within the East African community to align their national climate and food system strategies with the resolutions put forth in these critical summits. This alignment will facilitate a region-wide synergy, ensuring that our collective actions amplify the impact of individual efforts. Harnessing the rich diversity of our region, particularly the insights and perspectives of local communities, youth, and women, is equally crucial. By integrating their voices into policy frameworks and implementation strategies, we can ensure that our initiatives are inclusive and reflect our community's diverse needs and desires. In essence, our success is becoming leaders in implementing these resolutions hinges on our ability to forge unity, share knowledge, and integrate the wisdom of our communities into every facet of our action plans. The Comprehensive African Agricultural Development Program, CAADP, provides a crucial foundation with its at least 10% of annual agricultural budget allocation from the national budget. By ensuring that member countries honor this commitment, we can invest in modernizing agriculture, supporting smallholder farmers, and enhancing productivity across the value chain. The African Continental Free Trade Area is equally a game changer, and we can create a more resilient and interconnected food supply chain by fostering regional trade and collaboration. This initiative can enhance market access for smallholder farmers and micro, small, and medium enterprises, reduce post-harvest losses, and promote the exchange of agricultural best practices among the member states. Collaborating with international organizations is also crucial. Donor agencies and private sector entities can bring in expertise, technology, and investment to boost our economic, social, and agricultural development. We can leverage access to funding, transfer of knowledge, and implement sustainable practices through this partnership. While doing our own best, we have to call upon the international community to pay the cost that they incurred in our continent. With a few days to COP28, I am inspired by the commitments in the imminent declaration across the ES region, but nudge leaders to commit to a framework that holds all actors accountable to their duties while prioritizing investments across One Health for people, planet, crops, and livestock. Together, we can navigate the challenges ahead and ensure our nation's prosperous and resilient future. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for that insightful presentation, which will form the basis of the Excellency's discussion and guidance this afternoon. And therefore, without further ado, Your Excellencies, you allow me to invite the chair of the ESC Heads of State Summit, His Excellency Evariste Ndayishimiye, to address you, and then thereafter we go into the discussion by their excellencies. But Your Excellencies, also, I think it's fair that I recognize the presence of the Speaker of the East African Legislative Assembly, Right Honorable Joseph, and also the Judge President of the East African Court of Justice, who are with us this afternoon. Your Excellency, the Chair, most welcome, sir.
Yeah. Sorry. Mheshimiwa ndugu yangu dada Samia Suluhu Hassan, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano ya Tanzania, Your Excellency Dr. Samuel Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency Hassan Sheikh Mohammed, President of the Federal Republic of Somalia, Your Excellency, Head of Delegation representing the Excellency, the Head of State and the government of the state members of East African Community, Your Excellency, Your Excellency, member of delegations, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. First of all, I wish to thank Almighty God for this offered opportunity to be together in this important event. I'd like to thank you, Your Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of United Republic of Tanzania, the government and the people of the United Republic of Tanzania, for the warm welcome and the hospitality accorded to us since our arrival. Along those same lines, I am pleased to welcome Your Excellencies and all distinguished guests to this East African Community High-Level Forum of Head of State in Climate Change and Food Security. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we all know that the world is facing global environment issues due to climate change, which do not spare our community either. No one acknowledges that the harmful effect of climate change on our community, since we have discussed about it on several occasions, and more particularly during the African Climate Summit held in Nairobi and the Africa Food System Forum held in Tanzania in September this year. Those consequences result from the negligence and destruction of human beings who failed in the mission that God entrusted to him at the genesis of the world. Allow me to focus my speech on the gospel because within our community, we have raised God above everything. From the first paragraph of our anthem, we say, E Mungu, twaomba uilinde Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize malengo yetu. oh God, it is to God that we entrust our community, and it is to God that we ask for strength to accomplish our goals. This summit gives us a good opportunity to review our strategies to respond properly to the mission that God has given to a human being. The Lord God took domain and settled him in the Garden of Eden to cultivate and keep it. Our beautiful community is our Garden of Eden, rich in fauna and flora and biodiversity. This summit, which focuses on climate change and food security, automatically reminds us of our mission to cultivate the land and to preserve it. It is in that context that various efforts have been made in the past to cope with climate change and promote food security in accordance with the provisions of the Treaty for the Establishment of the East Africa and the international instruments and agreements. Some legal documents have been put in place to guide partner states and other stakeholders on the preparation and implementation of collective measures to address climate change in the region while ensuring sustainable social and economic development, such as, among other things, the East African Community Climate Change Policy of 2011, the East African Community Climate Change Master Plan 2011-2031, the East African Community Climate Finance Access and Mobilization Strategy 2022-23, 2031-32, the Protocol on Environment and Natural Resources Management 2020, adopted by the 7th Sectoral Council on Environment and Natural Resources Management, under review as directed by 41st Council. The community is emphasizing on integration of disaster risk reduction and management into the sustainable development agenda, advancing green industrialization, promoting agricultural sustainable practices to enhance food security while minimizing negative environmental impact. My country, Burundi, is scarped by green hills with rain over 9 months a year and waterfalls flowing freely throughout the country. To protect our little Garden of Eden, the private sector, the civil society, and the religious communities, with the support of government and development partners, have already joined the force to preserve it. At the international level, Burundi has adopted all international conventions on climate change. At the national level, various initiatives have been taken, such as the launch of a vast national reforestation program, Ewe Burundi Urambaye, in order to rehabilitate degraded forest area, which is mainly implemented by civil society. An environmental and agricultural policy has been adopted. An agroforestry tree planting campaign to preserve soil fertility and cover the land has been launched. also the population is sensitized on the need to protect watersheds by digging anti-erosion ditches, etc. At the same time, several strategies to promote agriculture have also been implemented, which allows Burundi to ensure food security at more than 80%. Inspired by this experience of Burundi, this summit, which brings together all stakeholders, including policymakers, researchers, private sector representatives, local community, and international organization and development partners, gives us a good opportunity to address deeply the adverse impact of climate change. In that context, the objective of the summit are to foster collaboration among East African community partner states, regional bodies, and in international partners for climate resilience, food security, and environmental sustainability. To showcase innovative approaches, best practices, and success story in climate adaptation, mitigation, and sustainable agriculture within the East African community region, and to identify opportunities for private sector investment, research, and technology transfer to support climate-smart agriculture and sustainable environmental practices. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, I would like to emphasize that this is a crucial step to prepare for the upcoming COP28 meeting and make sure that the East African community's voice on the practical solution and ideas for climate resilience, food security, and environmental sustainability in the East African community region will be duly taken on board. I wish you fruitful deliberation. Thank you for your kind attention. God bless you. Asante sana.
Your Excellency, thank you for your remarks. And as you've said, our God-given mission is to take care of our environment. Your Excellency, you referred to the East African community as the Garden of Eden. And that essentially is what transitions us to the Heads of State engagement session. And the simple question that we'll be answering during this segment is, how do we tend to that garden? We'll have 3 objectives that have been designated to the heads of state. The first objective will look at fostering collaboration among EAC partner states, regional bodies, and international partners for climate resilience, food security, and environmental sustainability. This particular objective, Your Excellencies, will go to the Republic of Burundi and the Republic of Uganda. Your Excellency, President Ndayishimiye, may I begin with you as the chair of the summit. During your speech at the Africa Climate Summit, you revealed that the annual loss to Burundi due to climate change is estimated at $100 million. Well, this calls for support and collaboration from regional and international partners. My question to you, Your Excellency, what opportunities exist for such collaborations to help tackle these impacts? The floor is yours.
Thank you. As you say, there is many opportunities. In Burundi, we have a great experience attesting that the synergy of well-coordinated efforts leads to the achievement of targeted objective. As I mentioned in my statement, civil society, the private sector, and the development partners join their effort to implement the government's program in terms of climate resilience and food security. We are happy to realize in our community each partner country is committed to mitigate the consequence of climate change. However, collaboration between East African Community member states, regional bodies, international development partners is a prerequisite for successful climate resilience, food security, and environmental sustainability. What affects one of the partner states also affects the other because we are geographically linked, and moreover, we know this from our motto, one people, one destiny. We are also pleased that each partner country has an institution in charge of climate and environmental issues which already constitute a solid basis. For example, in Rwanda, Environment Management Agency is working, and the National Environment Management Council in Kenya, the Burundi Office for Environmental Protection, OBPE, the National Environmental Management Authority in South Sudan and in Uganda, and also the Congolese Agency of Environment in DRC, etc. The most important thing would therefore be the establishment of a networking platform for these institutions to promote sharing of experiences and the synergy of effort to share experience on good practices to the effect of climate change. In the same spirit, ministries in charge of agriculture, livestock, and environment could promote joint research to implement practices and technologies adapted to our community, with a view to increasing the agricultural production, and as well established joint regional program monitoring and evaluation platform for the implementation. We could also consider establishing a pool of East African community experts responsible for evaluating the environmental and social impact of East African project, program, or development plan. It would be also important to coordinate regional mobilization of resources to supply a regional common fund dedicated to the prevention of climate hazards and the protection of environment. Finally, we shall ensure the effective participation of all stakeholders, including government policies makers, private sectors, civil society, and the religious communities during the design and implementation of regional initiative in this area. I think that if we could implement that to be together, the region is one, is also our motto, one people, one destiny. I think that we will work together and we will succeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Right Honorable Minister Kadaga, allow me to come to you to get a sense of the Republic of Uganda. Based on your country's experience, what specific measures do you believe can enhance coordination between EAC partners, other regional bodies, and international partners when it comes to climate resilience?
Thank you very much, Mistress of Ceremonies, Your Excellency, President Evariste Ndayishimiye, President of the Republic of Burundi, and Chair of the Summit, our dear host, Her Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Excellency President William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency President Hassan Sheikh of the Federal Democratic Republic of Somalia, Right Honorable Prime Minister Ngirente, Prime Minister of Rwanda. For the rest, I'll stand on existing protocol. Your Excellencies, I bring you greetings from President Yoweri Museveni. He's unable to attend the meeting today, but he will be joining you tomorrow. Your Excellencies, we were requested to speak to the topic on the fostering collaboration on the regional economic blocks, international bodies, and other partners. In our view, we have a number of mechanisms already that we could build on, namely the Summit of the Heads of State, the Council of Ministers, the Secretarial Council on Environment and Natural Resources. We could also have bilateral engagements between the partner states, tripartite engagements between regional blocks. Indeed, one would ask, how are we dealing with the IGAD? How do we relate to COMESA? How do we relate to SADC in the quest to have better agricultural resilience and environmental management? We also have the multilateral platforms like the COP28, and I'm happy that we are planning together. We also have engagement with the partner states and development partners. However, the existence of all these platforms and climate change facilities for improved security, there is still a deficit in our productivity and also in environmental sustainability. So we do propose an increase in the frequency of engagements to match the problem at hand. For instance, I think we'd have more quarterly meetings rather than meeting every 6 months for the Natural Resources Committee. I was thinking about an early warning system. Your Excellencies, you directed the establishment of the meteorological authorities in all our states. One would want to know, how do we collaborate among ourselves? Do we pass on information? Are we holding information? We also need to intensify implementation of the agreed positions and decisions. How often do we audit those decisions? Are they being implemented? Or when we leave the meetings, we put them in our offices and go and do other work? I think we need to do an audit there. We need to work together, mobilize more resources to invest in the required infrastructure and software, including smart agriculture, among others. We need to deploy a multi-sector approach, including government, civil society, development partners, religious organizations, cultural institutions, private sector. I'm happy to report that in Uganda, one, we do have a 10-year plan for restoration of the environment. We have begun by identifying the illegal title deeds issued in the wetlands and cancelling them. We are also evicting the people living in the wetlands. We are also working with the civil society, the corporations, to carry out programs for reforestation. But I was also thinking at the greater level about our common resources. I was thinking about the River Nile, 6,650 kilometers, discharging 7,000 cubic meters of water at the end at the Mediterranean. What are we doing along that route throughout those kilometers? How are we using that water? The River Congo, 4,700 kilometers, discharging 41,000 cubic meters of water per second. How are we using it? We've talked about low level of irrigation. I think we need to address the issue of irrigation, and we do have the resources. The lakes and rivers of the region should be used in that manner. We also have the issue of storage, how our storing food in the region. Sometimes you have a drought in the Horn of Africa, and there's the bumper harvest in other parts of the region. How do we work together to ensure that this food is stored and distributed in all those? Water storage, what are we doing about it? All these are areas that we think we could collaborate. Finally, I would also want us to consider at the domestic level whether food is available, whether it's accessible, how it is utilized, and the stability of supplies. I think that those and other measures would be some of those that we consider we could use in the region to enhance our efforts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Right Honourable Minister Kadaga, for sharing the case from the Republic of Uganda and to hear the work being done to reclaim the wetlands in your country as well. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, allow me to move to the second objective, which will be to showcase innovative approaches, best practices, and success stories in climate adaptation, mitigation, and sustainable agriculture and environment within the region. This question goes to the President of the Republic of Kenya, my home country, President William Ruto. You were named by Time magazine as one of the world's 100 influential leaders shaping global climate action. You also hosted a successful Africa Climate Summit. Now, when you look at the region's wins when it comes to climate adaptation and mitigation, what are these success stories that are worth highlighting in your view? The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Rubadiri. First, let me take this opportunity to thank my sister, the President of Tanzania, for hosting us. And to say that this is a very well-deserved conversation in the context of where we are regionally and also globally. The issues at hand surrounding the challenges that we have of either too much rain causing floods, not enough rain causing drought, and everything in between, mudslides, and all the effects that speaks eventually to food insecurity. It therefore calls on us to be innovative, to be creative in designing how we use the resources that we have to deal with the challenges of climate change and to see how we can reverse some of the effects of what we have done, because climate change is caused by human activity and human behavior. So let me say maybe 3 things on what we are doing and what I think we should do more to deal with the challenges that face us. I will speak about water, and then I will speak about soil, and then I will speak about technology and finance. You know, sometimes we are not sure whether we need rain or we need water. And I think the question is, we need water. And sometimes we confuse the two. Kenya, for example, is 80% arid and semi-arid. Therefore, we don't have much of rain, but I bet you we have enough water. And so we have decided as a country that we need to make sure that our water towers, our wetlands are protected so that we can use them to collect, harvest, store enough water to assist us manage our food security requirements. And it is the reason why we made a conscious decision that we are going to plant 15 billion trees to protect our wetlands and to protect our water towers. Accompanying the restoration of our water towers and wetlands is the subject of soil health. Of course, as you are aware, degraded lands leads to soil erosion, leads to soil degradation, and therefore restoring these wetlands and water towers also speaks to soil health. Progressing from the planting of 15 billion trees, and I want to record here that in the first 1 year, we are planting 500 million trees, and we are nurturing 1 billion seedlings for the next year. The next item is water harvesting. We're building 100 mega dams because we realize that we need water. So whenever we have rain, we should collect as much of it as is possible. And that will speak to what our brothers and sisters in Tanzania are doing, increasing production under irrigation. Our plan is to increase land under irrigation from 600,000 acres to 2 million acres. It is our belief that by so doing, we will not only deal with the challenges accompanying climate change, but we will also enhance our food security. On the subject of soil health also is making sure that we leverage on technology to make sure that farmers across Kenya have access to fertilizer. This year, for example, we registered 6.5 million farmers, and we distributed the largest ever fertilizer in Kenya's history because we eliminated brokers, middlemen, and cartels. It was therefore possible for us to get fertilizer through to farmers, and because of that, we were able to increase our production by 40%. For example, in maize, while last year we harvested 44 million bags, this year we are up to 61 million bags. So leveraging on technology to make sure that farmers have access to fertilizer and making sure that they have the correct, scientifically determined, crop-specific fertilizer speaks to our productivity and our production. And I needed to mention technology because it is the greatest enabler that we have in whatever it is that we are doing, whether it is in agriculture, whether it is in health or education. Technology has proven to be a great enabler. We are also leveraging on technology, of course, in determining soil samples. We are leveraging on technology to make sure that farmers have the correct weather information so that they plant at the right time, they weed at the right time, they apply the correct weed management pesticides and insecticides, and to make sure that we also manage at the tail end post-harvest losses. We just received 100 mobile dryers added on to all the dryers we have in the country to make sure that the 30 or so % of post-harvest losses is managed, because we can increase our percentage of production significantly just by eliminating post-harvest losses. And finally, let me speak to the subject of finance. When we had the Africa Climate Summit, the biggest conversation that was in that climate summit is about climate finance. And it comes in different ways. Many of our economies, many of our countries are struggling because of the effects of climate change. Many countries are spending more mitigating the effects of climate change, whether it is drought, whether it is floods, whether it is mudslides. We're spending more money managing the effects of climate change than on health or food security. And to be able to manage the balance between what you are spending on climate change and what you are spending on social service, it is necessary for us to work on climate financing. How do we reform the international financial architecture that was fashioned before the advent of climate change? If you are going to use the same instruments that we have used, the same financial instruments that we have used, designed for a different purpose at a different time, we will not be able to manage the competing financial requirements of our budgets, especially in the context of what we have to spend on managing climate change. Let me give you an example. Because of drought last year, our pastoralists lost close to 2.5 million heads of livestock. And so we have to spend money this year restocking, and we have to spend more money in making sure the children of these people who have lost their livelihoods go to school. So this year we have resorted to putting together resources to feed an extra 4 million kids in school, victims of climate change. And therefore, that was never anticipated. So the conversation we had is that we need to rethink, we need to reform, we need to refashion our multilateral development banks so that they can have adequate resources to give concessional resources to governments to be able to mitigate the effects of climate change. Otherwise, many countries would go into debt distress. And that is the reason why at the COP28, we will be discussing two very important aspects. Number one, as a result of the conversation we had at the Africa Climate Summit, and we did make a very passionate, as leaders from this continent, we made a very passionate appeal and very passionate proposition, actually, that we have assets. We have renewable energy assets. We have mineral assets. We have arable land assets. We have human capital as an asset. But we need to fashion investable programs where the world, where others can invest in our continent. So we will be going to COP28 with what we are calling Africa Green Industrialization Initiative, where we want to leverage on global resources to be able to industrialize our continent using the minerals we have, the agricultural potential we have, the human resource we have, and of course, the energy, green energy resources that we have. This is the proposition we will be going with to COP28. And secondly, we will seek that supports climate positive growth. Hopefully, we will make headway. We have already persuaded the host country, that is UAE. We are in collaboration with the EU. France is already on board, and we are working with others to be able to push the initiative to have a new charter on climate financing that will speak to green growth and green industrialization. So these are my thoughts around, and I hope I haven't talked for too long. These are my thoughts around what we should be doing, what kind of initiatives we should be having in place to be able to deal with the challenges of food systems, food security in the context of climate change. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. And now, Your Excellencies and distinguished guests, we will move to our third and final objective, where we'll look at identifying opportunities for private sector investment, research and technology transfer to support climate-smart agriculture and sustainable environmental practices. This segment will focus on the Republic of Rwanda and the United Republic of Tanzania. Your Excellency, President Samia Suluhu, allow me to begin with you. You've been vocal about a private sector in developed countries providing funding for Africa to produce more energy from natural gas. What other opportunities have you seen in the region for private sector investment? The floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I've seen number 3 is Swahili translation. So I would like to switch to the national language. And I've seen all of you having the equipments for translation. So asante sana Mheshimiwa Madam Moderator, lakini kabla sikujibu swali, naomba nitume nafasi hii kuwakaribisha wote waliotoka nje ya Tanzania, niwakaribishe Tanzania, lakini kwa wote niwakaribishe kwenye kituo hiki cha mikutano cha Ngurdoto. Wakati Mheshimiwa Ruto anaingia, kasema dada umetuleta porini, kaambia no sio porini. This is a green conference center and it's really green. So karibuni wote. Nikirudi kwenye swala lako la private sector ifanye nini investment kwenye green energy, lakini nataka niongeze pia kwenye climate smart agriculture. Private sector pia ina role ya kufanya. Sasa sisi Tanzania tulikuja na mkakati wa climate smart agriculture na green energy, na mkakati ulikuwa una mambo matano. La kwanza likuwa ni kuongeza uzalishaji, na katika kuongeza uzalishaji kwenye mazao ya kilimo, na tulibaini kwamba kwenye kilimo sasa hivi tumefikia hatua kwamba Tanzania haina mazao ya biashara mbali na mazao ya chakula mbali. Mazao yote ni mazao ya biashara. Amesema keynote speaker kwamba Tanzania sasa tunasafirisha mchele kwenda kwenye supermarkets za Ulaya, lakini parachichi, lakini pia horticulture products Tanzania tunasafirisha sana kwenda nje. Zamani mazao hayo yote yalikuwa ya chakula na sio mazao ya biashara. Pozungumza mazao ya biashara ilikuwa ni pamba, tumbaku, kahawa, chai na korosho na mambo kama hayo. Sasa kwa kulijua hilo tumekuja na agenda ya 1030, na hii manake ni kwamba inapofika mwaka 2030 Tanzania tuwe tumeikuza sekta ya kilimo kwa 10%, kutoka sasa 4% tufike 10%. Sasa katika hayo kuna mambo mengi tumejipanga nayo. La kwanza ni kutoa vivutio vya kifedha, vivutio vya kikodi kwa private sector waweze kuingia kwenye shughuli ya kilimo. Tumetoa 100% ya capital allowance, lakini pia tumesamehe waive import duty and VAT exemptions katika masuala haya ya kilimo. Tumesamehe kodi katika equipments au vifaa vya kilimo, vifaa vyote kama farm machineries, lakini vifaa vitakavyotumika kwenye kutengeneza irrigation schemes, vifaa vitakavyotumika kwenye value addition, vyote hivyo tunakwenda kusamehe kodi. Lakini vile vile vifaa vitakavyotumika kwenye green renewable energies, na venyewe pia tuna consideration ya kusamehe kodi. Yote hii tunalenga kupunguza gharama za uwekezaji katika climate smart agriculture, lakini pia uzalishaji wa nishati safi au green energy. Kwa hiyo kwa ujumla kwenye technologies za kilimo kule tumejipanga kusamehe kodi na tumeanza kusamehe kodi. Lakini kwa upande mwingine kuna, na kama wote mlivyoarifiwa hapa na keynote speaker, Tanzania tumekuja na mradi wa BBT, Build a Better Tomorrow, na hii ni for youth lakini pia women. Sasa tumekuja na mradi huu na tumejipanga kiasi ambacho wanawake na vijana wafanye intensive and extensive farming ili tuongeze productivity. Na hapa lengo letu ni kuongeza uzalishaji, lakini kupunguza umaskini. Kupunguza umaskini, wakati huo huo tunatunza mazingira. Kwa sababu kutunza mazingira bila kupunguza umaskini tutakuwa tunafanya kazi bure. Kwa hiyo tunatunza mazingira, lakini wakati huo huo tunapunguza umaskini. Lakini pia program hii wakifanya climate smart agriculture, lakini pia production ya green energy, tutakuwa tunachukua hatua za kufanya mitigation na adaptation ya climate conditions ndani ya nchi. Kwa hiyo kwenye hili kazi ya serikali, role of the government, ni kuwapa vijana ardhi, land, lakini pia mafunzo. Sasa private sector tunaitaka iingie kwenye kutoa fedha, lakini pia mechanization, kufanya kilimo chetu kiwe mechanized, lakini pia irrigation technologies tunategemea zitoke private sector. Vile vile issue ya off taking, kubeba yale mazao ambayo yatakuwa yanazalishwa na kufanya value addition, hiyo ni role ya private sector. Sasa private sector tumeiwezesha katika kufanya hivyo kama nitakavyoeleza sasa. Eneo la pili ni kujenga uhimilivu wa kufanya hii kazi ya kilimo cha kijani. Kilimo siku zote cha kijani, wasema climate smart agriculture, sijui Kiswahili utakisemaje. Sasa katika kufanya hivyo tumejenga uhimilivu wa kufanya hivyo, na katika kujenga uhimilivu tumekwenda kushughulika na masuala ya kuhimili extreme weather, mambo ya floods, mambo ya drought, mambo ya pesticides, lakini pia mambo ya diseases kwa mimea. Tumekwenda kushughulika nayo fully, na hapa pia inaingia masuala ya research na development. Kwa hiyo hatua tulizochukua kama serikali kwenye eneo hili ni kuhamasisha na kufacilitate ujenzi wa schemes za irrigation, lakini pia kujenga dams kwa sababu ya kuvuna maji ya mvua. Wakati wa misimu kama hii, maji mengi yanamiminika na yanapotea. Kwa hiyo hapa private sector ina role ya kuchukua zile tenda tunazozitangaza za kujenga schemes za irrigation, lakini pia dams kwa sababu ya kuhifadhi maji na kuregulate hizo droughts, lakini pia floods. Hivyo tumechukua hatua kwenye issue ya post harvest loss, ambapo agroprocessing na value addition tunaipeleka pia kwa private sector. Private sector watakuwa na kazi ya kuhakikisha wanafanya value addition ya mazao yote yanayozaliwa, lakini pia agribusiness ni private sector, ni vijana tunaowatayarisha na ni youth. Kwa upande wetu serikali tunafanyaje? Kituo cha Uwekezaji Tanzania kinafanya kazi ya kuhamasisha au kuhimiza, kufacilitate upatikanaji wa ardhi, lakini pia utoaji wa leseni na ruhusa permits za mambo mbalimbali kwa investors ambao wanataka kuingia kwenye kilimo, kwenye climate smart agriculture, lakini pia renewable energies. Sasa katika hili tuna vituo tumevianzisha, tulivipa jina la one stop centers, ambapo mwekezaji akifika mambo yote yanafanywa hapo. Lakini tumegundua pia kwamba vituo hivi ni vinakuwa kweli one stop centers. Wakati mwingine mwekezaji akifika hapo anakwama hapo hapo. Kwa sasa tunavibadilisha jina, tunaviita non stop centers. Kwa hiyo akifika hapo mwekezaji hawezi kusimama, ni non stop centers. Kwa hiyo watakuwa wanakwenda huko. Lakini kingine tunachokifanya ni kufacilitate access to capital, access to finance. Na hapa tumeyataka mabenki yetu yote, commercial banks, lakini kupitia Central Bank. Central Bank imeweka amount ya fedha 150 billion Tanzanian shillings na kusema commercial banks zifungue madirisha ya loans, mikopo kwa ajili ya kilimo, lakini na biashara ya kilimo. Na hiyo inafanywa na nani? Private sector. Kwa hiyo tumefungua madirisha hayo. Benki yetu ya CRDB ambayo pia imekuwa endorsed na ile Green Climate Fund imekuwa endorsed na inapata pesa kutoka Green Climate Fund, lakini na benki zingine kama nilivyosema kupitia Central Bank of Tanzania wanapata fedha, wamefungua madirisha maalum ya mikopo, na mikopo hii imekwenda kweli kweli. Lakini uzuri ni kwamba urejeshaji nao ni mzuri kweli kweli. Kwa hiyo wakulima wetu na private sector wanaotaka kufanya biashara ya kilimo wanapata mikopo na tunakwenda nao vizuri. Lakini katika hatua nyingine kwenye masuala ya research na innovation tunachokifanya kwamba huko nyuma Tanzania tulikuwa tunaagiza mbegu zote. Kwa hiyo sasa tumeamua kuzalisha mbegu nchini, na kwa hiyo tumewezesha Research Institute za Tanzania kuwa na mashamba yanayozalisha mbegu, lakini pia kufanya research ya mbegu bora. Na private sector tumeshaanza kufanya nao kazi baada ya zile improved seeds kutolewa na research centers. Private sector wanazizalisha zaidi kwenye mashamba yao na kudistribute kwa wakulima. Kwa hiyo that's another area private sector wanaingia. Kuna masuala ya kupunguza hewa ukaa au greenhouse gas emissions, ambako again Tanzania tuna targets kupitia nationally determined contribution. Tumetarget kupunguza 35% ya greenhouse gas emission out of 2000 level ambayo tunayo. Sasa katika hili Tanzania tuna area ambazo tunazihifadhi, conserved area ambayo ni kama hekta 48 milioni, na hii ni 55% ya land yote ya Tanzania iko under conservation. Sasa hii ni carbon sink kubwa ndani ya East Africa. Sidhani kama kuna nchi nyingine, hata Ruto hana eneo kubwa kama hilo ambalo limewekwa kwa carbon sink. Tanzania tunalo. Sasa nini kazi ya private sector kwenye hilo? Private sector kwenye hilo tunataka waje na technologies ambazo zitasaidia kuotesha zaidi, kufanya afforestation, kuotesha zaidi misitu, lakini kilimo chetu pia kiingie kwenye mambo ya carbon sinking programs. Na hapa private sector tunaitegemea ifanye carbon trading, na tayari tumeshaweka kanuni regulations ambazo zinaipa private sector mandate ya kufanya carbon trading. Lakini papo hapo tumekuja na kanuni nyingine kama ilivyoelekezwa kwenye Paris Agreement, kwamba sasa tuna kanuni za kuingia serikali na serikali kufanya biashara ya carbon trading. Kwa hiyo huko nako tunategemea serikali na private sector tufanye kazi pamoja kama ilivyoelekezwa na Paris Agreement. Lakini jengine niseme kwamba katika margins za COP28 tunapokwenda Tanzania, tunakwenda na program na tunakwenda kuonesha fursa, opportunities za kilimo, smart agriculture kwa hapa Tanzania. Lakini mbali na hayo tunakwenda pia ku-launch program inayoitwa the African Women Clean Cooking Support Program, ambayo hii ni Gender Responsive Just Energy Transition Support Initiative, ambayo lengo lake ni kupunguza kwa kiasi kikubwa matumizi ya kuni, biomass use in Africa. Tutakwenda kuwaonesha wenzetu, tunakwenda kushowcase. Sisi tumeanza, hatujafanya kwa kiasi kikubwa, lakini tumeanza na tumeanza kuona impact. Sasa kwa ujumla, tutakapolinda maeneo yetu, tutakapoongeza jitihada kwenye afforestation, lakini pia tutakapokuwa na climate smart agriculture, tunakwenda kutengeneza na kuonesha nguvu ya Afrika kwenye mambo ya mazingira, na kwamba Afrika ndiyo mama wa mazingira. Wenzetu wote duniani walishaharibu, lakini sisi bado tuko kwenye situation au hali ambayo tunaweza tukalinda mazingira yetu. Sasa hapa naomba tuwe na kauli moja kama East African Bloc tunapokwenda kule, na ndio msimamo ambao mawaziri wetu wameweka, na tunawashukuru kwamba tunakwenda na position moja ya kusema sisi ni mama wa mazingira, tunalinda mazingira yetu. Kwa hiyo yale masharti yanayotoka huko kwa wenzetu ili kutaka kutumia maeneo yetu kwa faida yao na si faida yetu, hasa kwenye carbon trading program, basi twende tukawe na sauti moja kwamba tupate jinsi vile tunavyolinda mazingira yetu. Sio sisi tunalinda, yanakuja makampuni, ndio private sector participation, lakini yanakuja makampuni ya nje kuvuna tulichokitengeneza sisi. Hapana, twende na yote kama tulivyojipanga. Sasa wito wangu nini kwenye hili? Wito wangu ni kwamba kama alivyosema keynote speaker, kama nchi za region hii ya Afrika Mashariki, nadhani tunapaswa kualign mipango yetu, sera zetu na mipango ya community, ili wote tuwe na mwelekeo mmoja wa climate smart agriculture investments, lakini investments kwenye renewable energies. Hilo ndio wito wangu kwa region yetu ya East Africa. Asante sana.
Mheshimiwa Rais Suluhu, thank you for your submissions. Now, wrapping up this third objective, allow me to come to you, Honorable Prime Minister Ngerente, from the Republic of Rwanda. Kindly highlight the policies or incentives that have been implemented in your country that have attracted private sector investment in climate smart agriculture and sustainable environmental practices. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much, moderator. Maybe before I go to your question, I want to say something about what we're doing here. I want to say that this is a timely discussion within our community, talking about agriculture and climate change. If I summarize this conversation, it's really about how do we make sure that our 283 million people in our community have enough food. In this regard, having enough food means availability of the food, affordability, and access. Those are the three things we need to take care of in our community. The second aspect I think this conversation is covering is how do we make sure that our 4.8 million square kilometers are not or less affected by all climate-related disasters. And we have seen that in recent past. We had disaster, natural disaster in Rwanda, in Kenya, in Burundi, in Tanzania, in every country. And now what we need to do is how do we strategize? How do we work together? How do we make sure that we collaborate in managing these disasters? And how do we make sure that we have the knowledge transfer? Because as the keynote speaker has mentioned, each country in this community has different achievement. He talks about achievement in Rwanda, in Burundi, in Kenya, in Tanzania, everywhere. But how do we exchange that knowledge? How do we make sure that we have knowledge exchange? How do we make sure that we have this expertise is exchanged between our countries? Because what Tanzania has achieved can be also achieved in Rwanda. What Rwanda has achieved can be achieved in Kenya or in Burundi. So we need to make sure that there is that knowledge transfer among ourselves or between within the community. That is something very challenging for us, and we need to challenge ourselves as we are here and work with our experts. So we need to make sure that we make a joint effort in managing these things. And this is because, as you know, when we talk about regional integration, since this community has been created, we have been talking about regional integration, and the regional integration means complementarity. Doesn't mean the competition, but complementarity. So that knowledge share has to be there to make sure that our people have enough food, but also not only our people, we can export even out of our region. So it's all, and when I come to your question, asking me what Rwanda has done in terms of attracting investors in agriculture, you know, this sector has been considered as a risky sector. So no one would to go into agriculture. So it's all about now de-risking the sector. How do we de-risk the agriculture sector and make sure that investors can come in? And what we have been doing, when you talk about de-risking the sector, it means there's a part which needs to be done by government, but also there is a part, of course, which needs to be done by investors. The part of government, the government has to make sure that at least we have viable infrastructures, meaning constructing feeder roads, that's a government part, make sure that the financing in agriculture is available. And now in Rwanda, what we have done, in Rwanda, we're trying to make sure that at least the funding in agriculture can be a financing with interest rate with single digit, less than 10%, at least financing in agriculture, especially to make sure that those smallholder farmers can get this kind of loans. There's also another aspect which needs to be done by government everywhere in our countries. It's the post-harvest facilities. Because when you see what is happening in Africa, almost 40% of our production, we produce less, and even what you have produced, 40% is lost when on the step of post-harvest management. So we need to make sure that we have post-harvest facilities, including cold rooms, storage facilities, and other things. So now coming to specifically to Rwanda, there is a list of incentives you have given to our investors in agriculture. First of all, we made sure that we have an insurance scheme in agriculture. So that insurance covers risk on crops or livestock. And that insurance is subsidized by government at a rate of 40%, and it's working. Now people have livestock or crops, they are insured. And that has been, we have seen the impact of that insurance scheme. The second thing is small-scale irrigation subsidized. It's a subsidized small-scale irrigation, which is subsidized by government and showing now results. Now, as the keynote speaker mentioned, we have now an improved seed system, improved seed production system, which is subsidized by government, and we are no longer now importing seeds. We are producing the total quantity of seed we need in Rwanda internally, domestically. The third one I can mention is duty-free importation of all agriculture input and tax exemption for agriculture equipment. That's also very important because it's part of the risk in that sector. We have also 50% reduction in corporate income tax if an investor is registered as exporting 50% of the turnover of products produced in Rwanda. And also we have other incentives, including the 7-year tax holiday for export-oriented production. So we have a list of incentives, but also in addition to these common incentives, we go also case by case, depending on the investor who is coming, and depending on which subsector is going to invest. Either you can be going to horticulture or other coffee or tea, depending on the subsector we're going into, the list of incentives can change and can be expanded. I think I have mentioned everything, but what I want to emphasize is the collaboration between our countries and the community to make sure that we share knowledge, we share expertise. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister from the Republic of Rwanda. At this juncture, Your Excellencies, allow me to give a few follow-up questions to your submissions. Allow me to begin with the President of the Republic of Burundi, the chair of the summit. You mentioned in your speech that your country boasts rainfall of 9 months a year. That, however, has been threatened by the climate change effects. Tell us what initiatives you've put in place to become more climate resilient. The floor is yours.
Thank you. First of all, is that Burundi is a special country where is a country of hills, small hills. Everywhere you cross, you can't cross 2 kilometers without seeing a valley. So the water, some water come from down, others from the mountains. So for that, we have a forest, of course, and also in resilience, we are looking how to do agroforestry trees so that we practice agriculture and also we plant the trees. Other things that we are protecting our soil by digging the anti-erosion system. So we use that system and also mobilizing all the people in the system for protection of our soil. And there is a participation of all the civil organization. And we have also a big program. Ewe Burundi Urambaye is Burundi covered by trees. Is our program. We began it since about 5 years. We are doing it, and all the people is mobilized for that. I thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Let me come to you, Right Honorable Minister Kadaga. You mentioned that your government is undertaking evictions from the wetlands as you reclaim those critical environmental areas. How do you strike the balance between the human element when it comes to evictions, but of course protecting the environment as well? The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed, it's a delicate situation because in parts of our country, people have lived in the wetlands all their lives. But because of the excessive use and abuse that we've had to change the situation, so we relocate them to other areas and encourage them to do other work other than what they were doing in the wetlands. We've introduced cage farming, among other things, We have reduced on the demand for rice in the wetlands. We are now encouraging them to grow upland rice. So we moved them, but we are giving them alternatives so that they can still have a living. It's not very nice. They don't like it, but we'd have to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Allow me to come to you, Your Excellency President Ruto. You mentioned the ambitious goal that Kenya has of planting 15 billion trees by the year 2032. However, we've had critics championing a tree planting, saying it is counterintuitive if the government is unable to tame illegal logging, especially in public forests. How are you addressing this issue? The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. It is true that you cannot allow the illegal, unfettered use of forest resources if you indeed want to grow your forest cover. And what we have undertaken in the, fortunately for us, many of the forest areas are in our water towers. So as you are aware, we are fencing off Aberdares, we are fencing off Mount Kenya. We're now in the process of putting a fence in Mau, and we have a whole program of making sure that we protect our forest areas by fencing as a measure against illegal logging. And to achieve that, we just authorized additional forest rangers. 1,500 forest rangers have just graduated to make sure that we have adequate human capital to protect the forest cover that we have. We are also increasing the number of those joining our National Youth Service. You heard me announce last month that we're going to increase our enrollment into the National Youth Service from 20,000 young people every year to 40,000 young people every year. And we are going to convert some of them into the Green Army that is going to engage in making sure that we don't just plant trees, but we grow trees. Many times it's easy to plant, but it is difficult to see them through maturity. So we are adopting this process as a mechanism of ensuring that our commitment to planting 15,000 trees is not about planting, it's about growing 15 billion trees. And as we grow the 15 billion, we must protect what we already have. And we have put in place mechanisms to make sure that that happens. And we intend to leverage on what President Samia was saying. This will come along with carbon market and carbon trading. The 15 billion trees is not just about planting trees. It's about leveraging these trees to create financing for making sure that our interventions in managing our environment pays off financially. So it's a business. We're not just planting trees for the sake of planting trees. We are planting trees for the sake of protecting our environment and also for the sake of making money.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Let me come to you, President Suluhu. Tanzania has a very ambitious strategy to turn the United Republic of Tanzania into a primary food producer for Africa by 2027. You mentioned some interventions in the climate-smart agriculture space, but what other opportunities does this new strategy bring for your country? The floor is yours.
Asante sana. Kwenye strategy yetu kuna mambo kama nilivyosema matano. Kwanza ni kilimo, lakini pia kilimo na production ya green nishati, green energy. Lakini pia katika utekelezaji wa program hii kuna mambo mengi yanajitokeza ndani yake. Kwa mfano, hatutaweza kukamilisha utekelezaji wa mpango wote huu bila kujiengage au kujiingiza katika mabadiliko ya sekta ya elimu. Lazima tubadilishe elimu yetu, tuwafanye vijana wetu wakue na fikra za utunzaji wa mazingira, lakini fikra za kukipenda kilimo. Lakini pia masuala ya vocational training, kuwa train kwenye sekta hizo ambazo zinaendana na kilimo, uzalishaji wa nishati safi, lakini utunzaji wa mazingira na sekta nyingine ambazo ni supporting sector kwa sekta kubwa ya kilimo na utunzaji wa mazingira. Kwa hiyo eneo la kwanza ni elimu. Lakini eneo la pili ni upande wa afya pia. Huwezi kuzungumza mazingira bila kuhusanisha na sekta ya afya. Kwa hiyo pia tuna kazi ya kutrain vijana wetu kwamba wanapokwenda kwenye shughuli za mazingira wasifanye tu mazingira kupanda miti na nini, lakini ni miti ya aina gani. Dunia sasa hivi inazungumza natural healing. Ni natural healing ni centers ambazo zitakuja kuhuisha uhai wa mwanadamu, labda kwenye natural treatments, labda kama ni mnene kama mimi anataka kupungua, anakwenda kwenye natural treatments ambayo pia atapangiwa chakula, atapangiwa mazoezi, atapangiwa nini, lakini chakula, mazoezi na dawa za kumfanyia, kumkanda na mambo mengine lazima yatokane na kilimo, na hiyo pia ni climate smart agriculture. Kwa hiyo kuna number of other supporting services au sectors ambazo zitaendana na sekta hii ya climate smart agriculture, lakini pia production ya renewable energy. Nashukuru sana.
Your Excellency, thank you. Honorable Prime Minister Ngerete, let me come to you. Rwanda has been taking steps to position itself as a destination for international climate financing. And at COP27, your country launched Ireme Invest, which is a green investment facility. Please tell us how much has been mobilized so far, and what can partner states learn from your approach? The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Ireme Invest, as you said, was established a few months ago, and that was with the objective of mobilizing money, mobilizing funding for smart agriculture and climate we want to manage climate change related effects, but at the same time promoting smart agriculture. And we have seen, as I said, that private sector didn't want to go into agriculture sector because it was considered as a risky sector. So this is a part of the risking agriculture sector. And we have, since the fund has been created, we put, as a government, we put the seed capital of 100 million Rwandan franc. And then we have been attracting other partners who want to invest in that fund. And we had, at once, the first meeting we had, we were about to mobilize around the 300 million euros. So we are now, we keep mobilizing additional resources because we wanted to make it, to grow it and make sure that it can help the private sector to come into environmental, to invest in environmental activities and agricultural activities. So the fund is growing, it's there, and we hope it will be helpful because you have seen now the result. People are coming in, people want to partner with us in growing that fund. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister. And as we wrap up this session, Your Excellencies, I have one final question to all of you. By virtue of your positions, you can go to places we mere citizens cannot. You speak for us, you carry the agenda on climate change across the world. Ahead of COP28, Your Excellencies, what is one thing you would want to highlight out of the EAC regional position that will be heading to the UN Climate Change Conference next week. I'll begin with the chair of the summit, the President of the Republic of Burundi. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I think that is already said. Now, as I said, we are one region. We are together. So we have the same consequence of climate change. What we need, as my sister said, we have our reserve of forest natural resources, so we must sell it. Is why I support this position. We will go and speak the same language on how to mobilize the funding for this program of climate change. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. President William Ruto, your submission, Your Excellency. Thank you.
I think the one thing that I would, as we go to COP28, it will basically be climate financing through climate investment. We will be looking for climate investment as a means of climate financing our assets.
Thank you, Your Excellency. President Suluhu, the floor is yours.
Asante sana. Mimi nataka niungane na ndugu wangu Ruto, climate financing, lakini nadhani it's high time sisi wa Afrika tuache kutegemea sana wengine kwenye climate financing. Nadhani tuje na strategies, mbinu ambazo tutakuwa na mifuko yetu wenyewe ya climate financing, kwa sababu kutegemea wengine tunacheleweshwa. Sasa hivi tuko COP28, lakini ahadi zilitolewa kwenye makopu ya nyuma huko, lakini mpaka leo fedha haijatoka. So it's high time tujitambue wa Afrika, tuangalie means and sources of our own climate funding na zile national determined contribution, basi twende tukazitekeleze ipasavyo. Asante sana.
Your Excellency, thank you. Honorable Prime Minister Gerente, the floor is yours.
One word, climate investment.
Climate investment, well noted. Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister. And finally, Right Honorable Minister Kadaga, the floor is yours.
Commitments have been made by our partners over the years. I think we'd want to ensure that they fulfill those commitments as we make our own start. Thank you.
Thank you. One more round of applause for our Excellency's Head of State for a fantastic conversation illuminating this topic on climate change and food security. Allow me now at this juncture to invite the East African Community Secretary General, Honorable Dr. Peter Maduki, to make some final remarks as we come to a close for this session. A round of applause for him.
Your Excellencies, I want to take this opportunity on behalf of all those who are participating to thank you most sincerely for your inputs, and we take this as the directives that you're giving the East African community, and as indeed as a common position as we go to COP28. And I want to assure you, when you did the African Climate Summit and the Food System Summit, you invited regional economic blocs, and ourselves as East African community, we decided we need to have a common position. I want to thank you. Out of your busy schedules, you decided to come for this, to deal with the very basic issues that affect our citizens, and that is food and climate. We don't take this for granted. We want to thank you most sincerely, but we still keep being the champions so that we drive home the messages that you keep on passing, both at the national, regional, but also at the international forums. We want to urge that all of us, we join their excellencies as they prepare to go to COP28 so that the voice of East African community is registered. And I want to assure you, we will be having different forums at the COP28, but converging with a common position, Your Excellencies. The outcome of this report, of this discussion, will be adopted tomorrow by the 23rd Ordinary Summit of Heads of States, and that basically becomes the official common position. And therefore, I want to thank all of you for participating, and of course, thank the Council of Ministers who have led by the chair himself, who is here, the minister from Burundi, and all the ministers who are here, who gave us guidance yesterday that whatever is coming out from the heads of states and the Sectoral Council on Environment, we make it a position. And therefore, what has been done here today, it was given approval by the Council of Ministers. I want to thank Your Excellencies.
Thank you, Honorable Dr. Peter Mathuki, the EAC Secretary General, for your closing remarks. At this juncture, Your Excellencies, we request a group photo. So photographers, if you can get in place to capture this moment, kindly remain seated at the high table as we capture this moment ahead of the summit tomorrow. Fantastic. And if we can be all smiles, Your Excellencies, this is your moment. Thank you so much for your indulgence. I'd like to call on the former Prime Minister for Ethiopia, Prime Minister Desalegn, to kindly join them up on the high table as well. Thank you, Your Excellency. Kindly remain seated as we continue with the photos, Your Excellencies. Thank you for your patience. Your Excellency, the President of Somalia as well, kindly join the heads of state on the high table as well. Thank you for gracing this occasion. Let's give him a round of applause as he makes his way up. Thank you. A very warm welcome, Your Excellency. Thank you. At this juncture, I'd like to invite the honorable ministers present, honorable ministers from the East African community present, kindly join the photo as well. You can make your way up on stage to join the heads of state. Honorable ministers present from the East African community. Fantastic. If we can have you just behind the heads of state, thank you very much. Thank you, honorable ministers. And let's capture this moment as well. EAC Deputy Secretary Generals as well, kindly make your way up on stage. Thank you. As well as development partners present. Development partners present. The Speaker of Ayala as well. The Speaker, kindly join us on stage as well. Thank you for indulging us for this time. Thank you, and development partners present, kindly make your way up on stage to the high table as we capture this moment. Thank you. Thank you. This is the final photo. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you so much. You may take your seats. Your Excellencies, at this juncture, we finally come to the conclusion of this high-level engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, kindly rise as we release our heads of state. Observing the exit protocol. Thank you so much. You may take your leave and have a good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Heri tujiulize bila kudhania, mambo gani muhimu tumezingatia. Tumenyaliwa sana sisi Tanzania, ngao yetu moja tumeshikilia. Heri tujiulize bila kudhania.